Intentional community means a lot of things, but it's a collective of people where they choose to live with a certain purpose in mind. They generally emphasize values that they think are lost in mainstream society.
Intentional communities are about the power of sharing and about accountability. There is no anonymity in an intentional community.
Well, what we're realizing that there's this sense of isolation, this sense of aloneness that we haven't found a way to heal. And the way to do that is being integrated and involved with others.
To kind of take community also as this beautiful learning opportunity. So I make the choice to live there. I make the choice to learn. I make the choice to not necessarily turn away if it gets uncomfortable.
You're just way more conscious. You're forced to be more conscious about those aspects. And because of that, it trickles out into a broader society. So I think it just makes people better humans.
Another world is possible, and is not just possible in our dreams, but is possible here in the world. And that thus there is no reason that we need to accept anything less.
It's just the basics. It's just caring about people and caring about where you are. But somehow that is, I don't know, cutting edge somehow now.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. We, the people, chose this intention for our country. Yet where are we, the people, now? For a country that intends to promote the general welfare, over 500,000 of us experience homelessness. For a country that intends to secure the blessings of liberty, more of us are incarcerated than in any other industrialized country. And for a country that intends to secure these blessings to our posterity, we continue to pollute our legacy by relying on fossil fuels for over 80% of our energy consumption. So what happened to this intention? As a country, we seem to have lost track of it, but intentional communities can help. Now, as you heard in the video, at the simplest level, intentional community means connecting our values to our daily actions by taking care of people, taking care of the place in which we live, and having the resources to do so. When we come together to live intentionally, we allow the space to truly live in this triple bottom line of sustainability: people, planet, and profit. But not everyone has the choice to live this way. I mean, for one thing, how many of you even heard of intentional community before tonight? Well, like most of you, I hadn't heard of it until 6 years ago when I moved into one. And since then, I've been involved in the network of intentional communities where sustainability and social justice are core values. But time and time again, I am one of the few, if not the only, person of color in the room. This is why I came to Presidio Graduate School. Intentional community can be a powerful tool for our sustainable future. But until we increase inclusion and access to this tool, its impact is limited. So what do? Well, as change agents, we know that if we want to create change, we have to be able to measure its impact. So just as B Corp does for businesses that want to be more sustainable, this Capstone project does for intentional communities, and more. Introducing UGR, UGR is a social enterprise service for sustainable living through training, consulting, and certification. Now, to get a deeper understanding of what this means, let's put it into practice. So let's say that UGR's first client is a group of people who want to form an intentional community. The first step in our certification process is to develop a clear theory of change, beginning with a focal issue. So in this case, considering California's legalization of cannabis in January, our client seeks to address the harms of prohibition, specifically relating to mass incarceration, the non-competitive legalized market, and the environmental consequences of using cannabis alternatives, such as fossil fuels and plastics, leading to an overall goal of creating a culture of responsibility around the use of cannabis, socially, economically, and environmentally. The key influencers needed to create this change include working effectively within the regulatory environment, working with formerly incarcerated individuals due to marijuana violations and their families, working with small growers who stand to lose their livelihoods if big money monopolizes the industry, and working with cannabis in a diversity of ways, including as hemp for products such as food, fuel, paper, and cloth. So that formerly incarcerated individuals and their families have access to sustainable living, small growers are economically included in the legalized market, and environmental resiliency is improved by the uses of cannabis. Now, the next step in the certification process is to identify customized key performance indicators to measure this theory of change and its impact. Our KPIs include the number of formerly incarcerated community members, the percent of profit that goes to small growers, and the optimization of the cannabis crop, among others. The last two steps are establishing a sustainable business plan and governance strategy. Now, these two steps occur simultaneously, as the implementation depends on how well they're integrated. This is also why it's helpful to have UGR staff with a dual degree MBA and MPA. So in this case, the business plan includes an educational center, retreat center, and governing through sociocracy. Now, once this process is complete, UGR continues to offer its consulting services for implementation. And once established, the community receives ongoing UGR training to ensure the success of inclusion and access. So this is just one example of UGR in action with a forming community. But this four-step certification process can be used with the 750 established communities worldwide that want to increase their impact of the intentionality. The more certified users within the UGR network, the more people become aware of intentional community, the more resources we have to share between us, and the more communities learn to truly live in diversity, thus increasing inclusion and access to sustainable living. Now about the name. This isn't the first time that we, the people, have come together to build a network that welcomes people to an alternative life, which is why I've chosen to name this social enterprise UGR, for the Underground Railroad. Because it awakens us to the reality of the direness of our situation. Because it provokes us to have the difficult conversations about why this is necessary. And because it unites us in our American heritage of coming together to work on adversity. Are you interested in learning more? Great! Well, then come back in May when the business plan is complete for the MBA portion of this Capstone project. Thanks. And join us as we advance sustainable living through intentional community. Join us as we build the Underground Railroad for the 21st century. Join us as we, the people, become the solution. Thank you.